Hey, good morning. I'm Patricia Murphy. It's Wednesday. This is Seattle Now. The 2026 Winter Olympics in Italy are getting closer, including the fan favorite sport of curling. Two members of Team USA Curling have Seattle roots, and they're ready to compete for the gold. Ben Richardson and Luc Violette are here to talk about their time on the ice in Seattle and now for Team USA. But first, let's get you caught up. Hey, it's New Year's Eve. If you're heading out, be sure and take advantage of free transportation options for getting around. King County Metro and Link Light Rail are offering free trips through 3 a.m. on New Year's Day. You can also ride free on the First Hill and South Lake Union streetcars and on the King County Water Taxi. But over at the monorail, there are no free rides. So be prepared to pay for your 1 mile celebration. Good air travel news for the new year. SeaTac Airport is offering nonstop flights to 5 new cities in 2026. You'll be able to fly directly to Hong Kong starting in late March. Nonstop flights to Barcelona and Rome begin in May. Also, this spring, Alaska Airlines will begin offering direct flights to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and to Humboldt County in Northern California. And Seattle has lost its tech town crown. We no longer have the largest share of residents who work in tech, according to a new analysis from the Seattle Times. The top spot now belongs to San Jose, California, with 13.5% of residents who work in the tech industry. Seattle trails just behind now in the number 2 spot. In 2022, Seattle was far and away the number 1 city for tech workers. According to the Times, tech jobs in Seattle have declined by 3,700 since then. Check back for more headlines on tonight's episode of Seattle Now.
The crowd to its feet. The improbable journey concludes at the top of the podium. Is it a miracle? The USA are Olympic champions!
You may not remember it, but this moment from the 2018 Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang, South Korea was monumental. Team USA's first ever gold medal in a sport that normally doesn't get that much attention. Still, every 4 years, the Winter Olympics bring new eyes to the 500-year-old sport of curling. Curling is known for the furious sweeping on ice, but it's much more than that. This is a sport that involves physics, conditioning, and communication.
I'd say curling is, it's known for the brooms, the sweeping, the ice. Probably the third most thing it's known for is the yelling.
That's Luc Violette, a member of Team USA whose curling roots stretch back to Seattle. He says that unlike other sports, you're not hiding your strategy from your opponent. You're shouting it out loud.
Close, curl! Curl! Curl!
Trying to get it to curl.
Luc and teammate Ben Richardson have shared the ice for more than a decade. Now they're heading to Italy for the 2026 Winter Olympics. They're here to talk about what makes curling fun to watch and what it takes to get to the Olympics. Thanks for being here, you two.
Thanks for having us. Good to be here.
Yeah, really happy to be here.
So curling is a sport that involves a lot of finesse, but you're throwing this giant granite puck.
We call that a stone or a rock.
Okay, and how heavy is that?
Usually about 42 pounds. It depends on the curling club you go to. If you have a set of rocks at a curling club that have been there for a long time, they slowly get smaller because as they hit each other, like mini particles come off of it. So like you can go to a curling club and they'll be like 38 pounds instead of 42 pounds. But at the Olympics, they'll be closer to that 42-pound range.
All right, so a rock, a broom, and a target, effectively.
Yep, and we call the target the house.
The house. Okay. All right, great. Those are the basics. Listeners are prepped. You two are from Seattle, and I drive past the Granite Club up north all the time and wonder about it. Tell me a little bit about that place and why it's a good place to learn the sport.
Well, that is the one. Back when I started curling, it was the only dedicated curling facility west of North Dakota. Now there's more recently one in the Portland area, one in the Bay Area, and a couple more that are popping up throughout the West, which is great. But it's kind of that isolatedness of being kind of a Midwest dominated sport, I think really helped develop a pretty strong both like community culture and social culture, as well as a strong competitive culture in that club. So really special club to grow up learning how to curling. A lot of those people are still like family to us, even though we've been away for a little bit now. And it was really nice. We were both back there on Friday to do a couple of things, and that was a lot of fun for us. But yeah, that is the Granite Curling Club of Seattle and up on 130th and Aurora. And I think probably the building I've spent the second most waking hours of my life in. It's up there for sure.
I have a bit of a different experience than Luke, and a bit of a unique experience compared to most curlers. But I didn't start curling with my parents like Luke did. Like I actually just went to a Learn to Curl at that club in Seattle. And literally from the first time I stepped out on the ice, the experience there was amazing. Like the instructor that was there teaching us, he made me feel like I knew what I was doing. It's like, hey, like you got a bit of a knack for this. Like you should join our junior league. You should like get to know people here. So then once I did that Learn to Curl, I was like, yeah, I want to keep doing this. And then I joined the junior league, and then I met Luke and Tom, and they both, Luke had been curling for a little while at that point. So he was a good idol to kind of look up to as someone to try to reach their level. And then his dad became my coach and taught me everything he knew. And then they just really accepted me, and everyone there did. Every junior that played with us, all the instructors, every member there just completely embraced me as a new curler. And it was just great from the start, and it was a great experience ever since.
How old were you when you showed up there for your Learn to Curl?
I was 13 years old.
What made you decide to do that?
Funny enough, so my grandmother was from Canada. So she was a curler back in like the 60s. She was from Saskatchewan, but like I said, neither of my parents curled, so it kind of skipped a generation. But my grandmother was aware that there was a curling club in Seattle, and we were living in Seattle. And so she just told my mom one day, she was like, hey, like you should take him out to curl and just see what he thinks. And my mom, I think I was probably in a room in the house playing video games, and my mom shouts to me from another room like, hey, Benjamin, you want to learn how to curl tomorrow? I probably like just half-assed said, sure, okay, whatever. And then the next day we tried it, and then it was awesome. Weird way to start, but yeah, it worked out.
So the curling club is actually a pretty special place to you two, and the city's curling community feels like it's special too, at least in its remoteness.
It's special in a lot of ways. That's part of it. Again, kind of a little bit less so now. But it's a really great community of people. For a lot of people there, it's one of their main social networks, and it's a way of life in a lot of ways.
Ben, how long have you two been friends?
Luke and I have known each other for, pretty much when I started curling. It was within the year that I started curling that I got to know Luke and became friends, and then eventually became teammates. So that was like 2013. So we've known each other for like 13 years now, and I think we've been teammates for 10 years. So we know each other pretty well, safe to say.
Do you have that like unwritten communication, that nonverbal thing going on the ice between you two when you're playing?
Yeah, totally. I've always said Luke is one of my favorite people to sweep with, just because we have a really good communication. A lot of the time we're just kind of on the same page without even saying anything. And then a lot of the skill in the sport is, watching Luke throw or Luke watching me throw and kind of knowing what's going to happen with the shot. And since we've been with each other forever and have watched each other for a long time, we just kind of know what's going to happen, and we're usually on the same page. So it's a big advantage for us.
And we've kind of had a couple teammates kind of change out on our teams. We've just kind of really started to embrace and appreciate just kind of like how well we subconsciously know each other, and how big of a benefit that can be. Like with sweeping, like one of the things a lot of people don't realize is just how hard it is to judge when to sweep, because you can make it worse a lot easier than you can make it better. And it's just like Ben's seen like me throw the vast majority of the rocks I've thrown in my career, and vice versa. And when you just kind of have that instinct for it, it helps you be able to read the rock and sweep right. And there's a lot of value there.
What does it take to become really good at curling? What kind of things do you have to perfect in this sport?
I think the most important thing is teamwork, being a good teammate. I think a lot of people don't necessarily realize as it comes across on the screen, but it's a very involved team sport where every player can make or break every shot that's thrown. It's not like there's kind of half the team that's either sitting on the bench or on the other side of the field trying to get open. Everybody is directly involved all the time. And even when the other team's throwing, you're constantly talking about reading the ice conditions and what you're going to do next. And so that's, I think, kind of really up there above all else. Clearly, there's a level of finesse, and that comes with practice. And I guess just kind of having that level of personality. A lot of people kind of think of the strategy, which is a very important part of the game. But quite frankly, I think the other things are first. And of course, like most things, it is harder than it looks. And sweeping is especially at the high level to be competitive is very physically demanding. And so having the training off the ice to be able to keep up with a long season of sweeping is very important as well.
You two are representing Team USA in the Winter Olympics. Luc, what does it mean to you to represent the U.S. right now?
Yeah, this is something that still is hard to explain, and it's maybe evolving kind of every day since we qualified earlier this month. It's pretty awesome, something that we've dreamed about since right around when Ben started curling, probably for both of us. We're both pretty ambitious about it at that time, but it's never a guarantee. It's really hard to get here, and so to get here, thankfully, at a spot where we're pretty young in life in a lot of regards, especially in curling, is a pretty exceptional opportunity, and we're really grateful for that, and really excited. It really is, the Olympics is the ultimate event in the world, and there's just so many awesome things that can come from that, and it's going to be a great month for us.
The U.S. has only won a single Olympic gold medal in curling back in 2018, so it's not a sport that the U.S. has historically dominated. How are you thinking about your competition? What does it mean to be able to compete for gold?
Yeah, I mean, it means a lot. As soon as you mentioned the gold medal, I think back to I was in college at the time in 2018, and the Olympics were happening in Korea, and I was staying up in my dorm room at like 3 a.m. watching the gold medal match. And I probably woke up like every single person on my dorm level because I was screaming. I was so excited. And I was like, oh my God, this is actually happening. So that's a great memory for me. And it's something that we would love to repeat. The U.S. hasn't historically we did get a bronze medal in 2006. So we've had a couple medals here and there. But I think we're in a really good position to medal here. We're ranked 6th in the world. This is the highest that a U.S. team has ever been ranked ever in our country for curling. And we played these teams before. We know we're going to have to bring our best. Like these teams are amazing. Like the top 3 teams, especially like Schwaller, Mowat, and Jacobs from Canada, Switzerland, and Scotland. They're great teams. And there's other teams as well. So we'll have to bring our best, but we're ready. And I feel like there's not that much pressure on us, like because of that historical run, like there's no one's like, I mean, people would expect us to do well, I'm sure, but we're just there to have fun and do our best and see what happens.
I just think it's so cool that you're an elite competitor at your sport, which is, I don't know. I just think that's really cool to be so into something that you dedicate your life to it.
That means kind of more than really anything, at least to me, right? I mean, the Olympics is a fantastic experience, but above all, right, I mean, the reason I play is to be that competitor at the elite level, and what events may or may not work out for us. Just that pushing yourself to be better, and then doing it with a handful of really awesome teammates and coaches, and getting to travel the world and play the best of the best. I mean, that's the cool part to me, and the Olympics is really nice, especially for our family and friends and everyone that supported us. But it's exactly what you said, that elite competition, that's the best part.
Yeah, that's the most fun for me watching the Olympics, is seeing the absolutely amazing elite athletes doing what they do so well. Let's help viewers and listeners out a little bit here. What should they be looking out for when they're watching you on TV? Like, what makes good curling technique?
Usually what I like to say for people that watch curling for the first time, there's a couple of good YouTube videos. There's specifically one that was released by Curling Canada that's like 2 to 3 minutes long, and it goes through all of the basics of curling and like animated, very well explained. So if you have 2 or 3 minutes, watch that video beforehand, and then you'll kind of get a better understanding for it. But at the same time, I've also told people it's kind of fun to go into it and also not know what the heck is going on, because you're just kind of watching all the chaos and being like, what on earth is happening, and kind of try to figure it out on your own. But yeah, I mean, watch for like the yelling. There's a lot of yelling that goes on. And also one of the coolest things I think about our sport, that's fun to watch from a viewing perspective is we're all mic'd up out there, so you can actually hear like what we're saying and the conversations that are happening. And there's really I can't think of another sport where you can like hear every single player like talking out loud and like what they're discussing with the strategy. So it's really fun to listen to. Like you can really hear what everyone is thinking out loud during the games.
That's very interesting. I did not know that. So we can listen for you communicating with each other about what you want to be doing. What might you be saying to each other?
Yeah, so there's, we'll definitely be talking about strategy. Like when it's our turn to throw, Danny, our skip, will be down there, and if he's throwing, if it's his shots, then Luke will be down there with him, and they'll be talking about what shot to throw. And often that conversation looks like, well, if we play this, then they could play this, and then we're screwed. Or if we were to miss this shot, we're in a really tough spot, so we should maybe play the safer shot over here. And it's just kind of like balancing risk, talking about what they're going to do, what the other team is going to do. And that's the other unique part about it is we're saying all this stuff out loud, like the other team can hear us too. There's really not much that we're trying to hide. And there's not really a point to hiding it. Sometimes there is, like, sometimes we'll be like, ooh, there's this shot over here that they don't see. Let's be quiet and not like say it too loudly so they don't notice it.
Most of, I guess, what people are going to kind of pick up through the mics is we're yelling as the rock goes down the sheet. And that's because there's two sweepers, but then the shooter and then the skip, who's the person in the house, they both have a perspective on the shot that the sweepers don't have. So that yelling is actually pretty like systematic communication where, we're just trying to efficiently and loudly articulate basically how the rock's moving down the ice and how the sweepers need to sweep because of that.
So curling is kind of this thing that we don't hear very much about until something like the Winter Olympics comes up. Ben and Luke, what does it feel like for you to dedicate your lives to this sport and only have it become super popular whenever the Olympics come around? Yeah,
the Olympics is every 4 years big wave for our sport, and that is spot on. It's for, there's a couple weeks in February every 4 years where there's a lot of people that know what curling is and are watching it, and then it's kind of nothing for the most of the rest. I don't want to say nothing, right? But there's no doubt we're very aware just how big that rush is, and it's a big part of, I guess, curling clubs culture is to try to make the most of that and enjoy it. Ben mentioned going to the Granite Curling Club to try it out in open houses. There are a lot of open houses around the Olympic window, as we call it, so it's definitely a great time to try it. But also there is a lot of curling to watch the rest of the 4 years. It's just not on main network television, but there's a ton of games that are out there now, especially if there's so many ways to stream. And it's the competitive circuit that plays a lot. That is fascinating, and perhaps we have piqued some interest during our interview, Ben and Luke. So before I let you go, what would you say to someone in Seattle who wants to try curling?
I would say do what I did. Sign up for Learn to Curl. I mean, the curling club in Seattle is great and very welcoming. I was there a couple days ago, so I know that they're still very friendly and still willing to take in new curlers. So yeah, if you're in Seattle or if you're anywhere, I mean, most curling clubs, there's in most states in the U.S., I think pretty much all of them at this point, you can curl somewhere. It might not be at a curling club, but it might be like at an arena where it's sharing with hockey ice, but you can pretty much curl wherever you are. So just look it up online and see if there's a Learn to Curl. And then if you feel so inclined, you can join a league after that. And every Tuesday, go curl in the evenings and have a beer after and just have a good time. It's great. A great experience.
It sounds like a pretty welcoming sport. Ben Richardson and Luc Violette, curlers for Team USA. Best of luck in Italy next year.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you listening to Seattle Now, and thank you to our generous financial supporters. You can help us out by clicking the link in the show notes and following and rating the show on your podcast app. Today's episode was produced by Vaughn Jones. It was edited by Caroline Chamberlain Gomez. Our production team also includes Andy Hurst, Brooklyn Jamerson Flowers, and Paige Browning. Greg Kramer does our theme music. Seattle Now and KUOW Public Radio are members of the NPR network. I'm Patricia Murphy. See you soon.